Well, I started to a country school at Second Creek, Texas, about 6 miles south of Caldwell. And I went there through the 8th grade. It was a 2-room school, and then I transferred to Caldwell High School. And it was a fairly small school, just one building, all 12 grades in that one building. And I spent 4 years there. And then graduated in 1951 and started to Texas A&M. And so the kind of school, it was just a regular high school, Caldwell High School. It was not a big school. It wasn't extremely difficult. I enjoyed it very much. Had some very good teachers. You know, Miss Anita Smith beat English into me, so I can write a sentence and I can punctuate most of them. I was very active in the FFA. I had some very good FFA teachers, some ag teachers, and a good chemistry teacher. And certainly Mr. Balter was a wonderful algebra teacher, math. But I'll add one other thing that a lot of people didn't do. We had a program, typing. Mr. Cecil Brown taught me typing. And I wondered why I was taking typing, and I did too when I was in high school. But as we get a little bit later on, we'll talk about my computing career, and I spent most of my adult life working with computers, and that course has helped me tremendously because now I can use a keyboard without just hunting and pecking. When I graduated from high school, I was the first one from many generations and anywhere in the immediate family that ever graduated from high school. And they had a big party that night, and the kinfolks came, and I was then the first one that graduated from A&M. They did by encouraging me. I liked school, and I enjoyed learning. Yes, I enjoyed the biology, I enjoyed the agriculture, I enjoyed the math. School was not real difficult for me. I made relatively good grades. I really didn't know what I wanted to be at that time. Taking one step at a time, I wanted to get out of high school first. And then, in order to pay my way, I was in the chicken business with high-lay poultry farms over here in Bryan, raising chickens. And for 2 years of high school and then later 2 years in college, I was in the poultry business. So, yeah, I wanted to go to A&M. I wanted to go to A&M, and I wanted to major in poultry science. I think if you really want to do something, you can do it. I think most of the people that fail in college work real hard at failing. They have the mental ability, they don't have the desire. I guess I got into science, research or whatever, working on my master's degree. I had to do some research to get that degree, and then I had to do some more research to get the PhD. But at that time, I really wasn't all that interested in being a scientist. I wanted to be a geneticist. I wanted to go to work for a poultry industry or the turkey industry or something like that and become a geneticist for one of the commercial operations. Dr. Crew got me involved with the computer center, and I realized at that time that I had to know something about computers if I was going to be a geneticist. So when I came back out of the service, started my PhD, I went and talked to Smitty at the computer center and asked if I could work down there for free. I just needed to learn to use the equipment. There were no computers, it was all punch card equipment. And he said, I'll do better than that, I'll hire you as a graduate student. So I was going to school half-time, and I had a teaching assistantship in the poultry department, and I was working at the computer center from 6 to 12 every night just to learn computing. Okay. And I never got out of that. I stayed with computing until today. I like to shoot, I like to reload, I like to fly fish. I don't do as much of that as I used to. I like to camp. Seems like we have less time since I retired than I did before. But those are the type things that we like to do. We have a trailer. I enjoy teaching. I enjoyed working with the students. And it was to tell them that they needed to learn as opposed to memorize. Now I have a real hang-up about students working hard and trying to memorize between one quiz to the other so that they'll come up with a good grade at the end and have no real desire or interest in learning anything. And I always tried to, and I explained to them at the beginning, I always tried to make my quizzes such that they had to know the subject. Every quiz that I ever gave was a final. It always went back to the beginning of the semester. And I wanted them to learn I tried to teach them techniques more so than just learning physically how to manipulate data. Well, there's one thing, is to study hard and to learn. Don't prepare or plan or work just to make an A. Don't memorize between quizzes to make an A and not know anything about the subject when you get through. Actually want to learn, and if you'll get if you'll get the math and the chemistry and the biology down, you can pretty well go any direction you want to go.